Hey, Jake Harper here from American Torah, and I'm still in Matthew chapter 9, reading verses 32 and 33. As they went out, behold, they brought to him a man mute and demon-possessed. And when the demon was cast out, the mute spoke. And the multitudes marveled, saying, It was never seen like this in Israel. So Yeshua here has cast a demon out of a man who couldn't speak. And then the man could speak. So clearly it was the demon who was causing this man's muteness. Just kind of a side note about, demon possession in the Bible. Matthew tends to use a Greek word that essentially means demonized. I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I don't know a whole lot of Greek and I would just embarrass myself. Mark and Luke and John all use this same word, but Mark and Luke also use a phrase that means unclean spirit. It's synonymous. They mean the same thing. So the question that you would immediately ask is all sickness caused by demons? But it's a pretty easy question to answer, at least right off, at least on the surface, because in this same chapter, Yeshua healed a couple of other people, and they weren't demon possessed. He just healed their physical infirmities. And let me go to Luke chapter 6, verses 17 and 18. And he came down with them and stood on a level place with a crowd of his disciples and a great multitude of people from all Judea and Jerusalem and from the seacoast of Tyre and Sidon, who came to hear him and be healed of their diseases, as well as those who were tormented with unclean spirits, and they were healed. So you've got a multitude of people who want to be healed from physical ailments. And you also have some demon-possessed people who want to be healed. So it seems like most illnesses are not caused by demon possessions or demonic influence. They're just caused by things going wrong in the body. I have something in my notes and I can't read it. You can think of, there are other cases when people were healed of demon possessions, like the two demon-possessed men in the graveyard in the land of the Gadarenes, the epileptic boy who kept throwing himself into a fire. One thing that all of these cases have in common is they seem to have behavioral aspects. This man who was mute, I suspect that he probably had the physical capability of speaking, but this demon kept him from speaking. The men who were living in the cemetery, they were living among the graves, among unclean things. They were violent and attacking passersby. This is all behavioral stuff. The epileptic, it wasn't just that the boy was having seizures, but the demon was deliberately finding opportunities to harm the boy. He would fall into fires. An epileptic doesn't automatically jump into a fire when they have a seizure. So is muteness, is epilepsy, is violent behavior, are these things always demon possessed or caused by demon possession? At least some of these are pretty easy to answer. Muteness, since that's the topic of this one, let me go back to Exodus. Exodus 4, 11 and 12. So Yahweh said to him, Who has made man's mouth? Who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, Yahweh? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall say. So here, God himself is saying that he causes people to be mute. So obviously not all muteness is caused by demon possession. Epilepsy, all of these things, behavior, whether it's something physical wrong, a neurological disorder, mental illness, whatever it is, it's not necessarily caused by demons. And in fact, it's probably not. Think of the human body and the human soul like a complex machine. We have lots of moving parts, lots of software running things and making sure that everything happens the way it's supposed to. And so there are lots of things that can go wrong. Just like with any complex machine, you can have hardware problems. Parts wear out, parts break because of outside influences. Maybe somebody abused it. You have software problems. Software updates cause problems on everybody's computers all the time. You get a new hardware driver, which is the software that tells the computer how to work with the hardware, and something new goes wrong. You install a fix for that, and that causes some other problem. Software bugs are just a constant plague in modern life because computers are everywhere. Malware is a big danger too. But honestly, most computer problems aren't caused by malware. And if a computer technician comes to fix your computer and he automatically checks for malware or automatically assumes that your problem is caused by a virus, it's probably not a very experienced technician, because that's not usually the case. Most computer problems are caused by a software update, corruption in the software, caused by hardware problems, or probably most common, just by user error. The user did something that caused the computer to malfunction, did something that the software wasn't designed to do, or that the programmers didn't expect, or did something in the wrong way that caused a problem between two different programs. I'm sure if you've used a computer, you know what I mean. So malware isn't the most likely culprit in most computer problems. And demon possession is not the most likely culprit in most people problems. Even among violent or mentally ill people, demon possession probably isn't the problem. It could be. Clearly, sometimes it is. And just like with computer problems, where user error is the most likely culprit, let me back up and talk about another aspect of computer problems. The most likely reason that a computer will get malware is the user did something. Now, there are cases of drive-by computer infections where you go to a website and some malicious code in an advertisement installs something on your computer. Sometimes this kind of thing happens, but the vast majority of the time, 99.99% probably, malware on a computer was caused by something the user did. You went to a suspicious website. You clicked on a suspicious advertisement. You got an email that had an attachment and you opened it without knowing what it was or who it came from. You clicked on a link in an email, but you didn't check to verify that the from address is actually the address of the person you think it came from. It's usually pretty easy to spot those kinds of emails. Bad grammar, weird word choices, the email address doesn't match the name in the from field. All of these things are indicators that you should not just click on things and open programs that come or files that come attached to this email. So when you get malware on your computer, you have to think back to, what did you install lately? What did you click on lately? Because that's probably where it came from. And the same thing is true with demon possession and human behavior. The things that we do are usually caused by something we did. Everything is a chain reaction, and we have the free will to make choices, but our inclinations are influenced by our environment, by what is done to us, and by what we do to ourselves, which is probably the most important part. We have to exercise some discernment in what we put into our lives. Our behavior, thinking about certain things, getting involved in entertainment or ritual or religious things that are inspired by demons, are more likely to invite demons into our own lives. If you don't go to places on the internet where malware hangs out, you're less likely to get malware on your computer. If you don't go to places where demons hang out, you're less likely to get demons in your life. So our behavior invites both curses and blessings. We can do things to increase blessing in our life, and we can do things to increase curses also. Let me read another passage from the Old Testament. This one is from Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28:45. Now, this is God talking to Israel saying, if you do all these things, you'll get these blessings. If you don't do these things, or if you do these other things, you'll get curses. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and pursue you and overtake you until you are destroyed, because you did not obey the voice of Yahweh your God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded you. So God says that our behavior will affect the blessings and cursings in our life. We can invite demonic activity into our lives by doing things that demons like, that demons hang around. Now, this doesn't mean that if you sin, you're going to be sick. All sickness is not caused by your sin. Yeshua said that explicitly. We learned about it in Job also. Sometimes sickness is caused by your sin. Most of the time, it's just a fallen world and bad stuff happens. But you can really increase your odds of having a happy life, and especially a demon-free life, by living according to God's precepts. You live the way that God says that we should live, you will be healthier and happier. I guarantee it. It doesn't mean that you will always be healthy, or that you will even be healthy. It just means that you will be healthier than you would be otherwise. If you disobey God's instructions, if you go out and do the things that our spiritual enemy wants you to do, you're going to reap consequences for that too. You're going to have curses in your life. You will have more sickness. So exercise some discernment in your behavior, in what you do for fun, what you do in your religious life. Follow God's commandments. They're really not that hard. This is Jake Harper from American Torah. Be blessed.